The drone bay is dimly lit, the hum of machinery constant and reassuring. I check my console, the screen flickering with data streams up, coordinates, status updates, sensor readings. The drones are prepped for deployment, their sleek frames lined up like sentinels, awaiting orders. Each unit is a blend of metal and circuitry, designed to function without fail. I tap into the grid, initializing communication channels. Static crackles through my headset as I sync with central command. The voice that responds is clinical, devoid of emotion, just data and directives. Begin phase 1, it says, the tone indifferent. Outside the bay, the jungle presses in from every direction, dense and unyielding. Trees tower overhead, their leaves a lush green canopy, blocking much of the sunlight. I do not think about the trees. They are simply part of the terrain backdrop to operations. I move through the station, checking supplies and gear. The air is thick with humidity, but the climate control systems manage it well enough. My boots sound dull on the metal flooring as I walk. The echoes a constant reminder of the isolation here. Each section of the station has its own purpose on maintenance bays, command centers, storage areas. I move methodically from one to another, ensuring everything is in order. The drones are loaded with their payloads, non-lethal deterrence, and surveillance equipment. They are ready for deployment. I step outside into the compound, the air thick and heavy with moisture. The ground is a mix of dirt and gravel paths leading out into the jungle. The drones take off silently, their propellers whirring as they ascend into the canopy. I watch them through my HUD, tracking their movements on my tablet. The feed shows the drones navigating through the dense foliage, sensors scanning for any signs of unauthorized activity. The data streams are uninterrupted, each unit relaying its findings back to me. There is nothing unusual yet, just the routine checks and scans that need to be done. I return inside, reviewing the footage from earlier missions. Eton's all there on screen on. The drones patrolling the perimeter, monitoring for any threats or intrusions. The system is efficient, the operation seamless. I do not question why we are here. Eton's just part of my job. My shift progresses, each hour blending into the next. The station hums with activity, a hive of controlled precision. Outside, the jungle remains unchanged, an ever-present backdrop to our operations. I check in with command periodically, updating them on status and any anomalies detected. There are none so far, just the steady stream of data confirming everything is as it should be. The drones return one by one, their batteries recharged before they are sent out again for another cycle. The station remains a bastion of order amidst the chaos outside, our systems functioning without fail. Eton's all routine, the checks, the scans, the deployments. There is no need to think beyond these tasks. Eton's simply what I do. The day begins with the steady rhythm of my console alerts, each signal a reminder of tasks to be checked off. I move through the checklist methodically, starting with system diagnostics and environmental scans. The air conditioning hums quietly, ensuring the machinery stays within optimal operating parameters despite the oppressive heat outside. I don my protective gear without hesitation, familiarizing myself with the weight and feel of each piece as they secure in place. Gloves, boots, helmet, each step a practiced routine. The environment suits me. It's expected to be challenging, but I am equipped for it. The drones are ready for deployment, their sleek forms lined up awaiting orders. I initiate their launch sequence, watching the data stream flicker across my screens as they ascend into the canopy. Their movements are precise and efficient, capturing samples and transmitting them back in real time. The drone's flawless performance reaffirms the importance of every detail. From the software updates to the calibration checks, I spend hours analyzing the incoming data, cross-referencing it with previous entries. Each discrepancy is noted and corrected promptly, There are no room for error. The central command system provides directives, and I follow them without question. My role is clear: maintain efficiency and accuracy in all operations. Breaks are scheduled regularly to ensure optimal performance. During these intervals, I review my tasks for the next cycle, preparing mentally for any adjustments needed. The jungle remains a constant presence outside, its vibrant life an unremarkable backdrop to my daily routine. As dusk approaches, I conduct final checks before signing off on the day's activities. My actions define my purpose here. There is no need for introspection or sentimentality. Everything functions as it should, and that suffices. The dense canopy above filters the sunlight into patches of dappled illumination. With each step, I navigate through the thick undergrowth, my boots sinking slightly into the loamy soil. The humidity is a constant presence, clinging to my skin and making even the air feel heavy. It tones almost as if the moisture wraps around me like a second layer, but over time, it fades from notice. The distant calls of unseen creatures echo through the jungle, a cacophony of bird chirps and amphibian croaks intermingling with each other. These sounds are persistent, yet I ought to be grown accustomed to them. They blend seamlessly into my awareness, becoming mere background noise rather than interruptions. My gloves are slightly damp from condensation as they grasp onto the drone's control panels. The tactile sensation of moisture against my skin is familiar, almost comforting in its predictability. But with each task completed, it becomes less noticeable, merging with the routine. The air pressure fluctuates subtly within my suit, adjusting to maintain a comfortable internal environment despite the varying external conditions. This mechanical regulation happens silently and seamlessly, requiring no conscious thought from me. The adjustment is so precise that soon I barely register the changes in pressure. Dusk begins to fall, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The light dims gradually, but my eyes adapt without effort, focusing on the task at hand rather than the shifting conditions around me. The drone's lights flicker to life, illuminating a small perimeter of work area, and I continue with my duties. The humidity remains, ever present yet diminishing in its impact. With each passing moment, it fades further into the background, becoming just another aspect of the environment that is neither noticed nor missed. The rhythmic clatter of machinery syncs with the steady pulse of my heartbeat. I move in unison with others around me, our actions blending into a seamless dance of efficiency. The space is filled with subtle cues, drones swarming like clockwork, their movements predictable and precise. I observe the flow without pause, each task dovetailing into the next with mechanical precision. Our interactions are measured and purposeful, devoid of personal identifiers or emotional undercurrents. We shift positions, our bodies forming a cohesive unit, yet remaining distinct components in a larger assembly line. The drone saw meticulous paths cross ours, their movements choreographed to avoid any disruption. I take note of the timing, ensuring my steps align perfectly with theirs. The jungle's dense foliage remains an ever-present backdrop, its sounds and scents barely registering as static noise. My focus is on the data streams flowing through me, each byte confirming the success of our coordinated efforts. The screens before me flicker with green indicators, signaling that every component functions harmoniously. As I complete one task, another begins without hesitation, my hands moving from one interface to the next with practiced ease. The air hums with a low frequency, a constant reminder of the system's heartbeat. My senses meld into the symphony of labor. An individual perception fades into the backdrop of collective action. Each person around me becomes a mere extension of the process, their roles interchangeable within the larger framework. There is no need for personal connection or recognition. Our shared purpose lies solely in maintaining the operational flow. The day's tasks unfold without incident, confirming that every component functions as intended. As night descends, the jungle's sounds grow louder, but hold no significance beyond being part of the environment we work within. My movements slowed down, aligning with the transition from active labor to maintenance checks. The drones pause their activities, their energy cycles syncing with our rest periods. I feel no sense of loss or individuality. My role is integral, yet replaceable. There is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that the system functions seamlessly regardless of who executes. My focus remains on ensuring continuity, merging into the process until the dawn brings a new cycle of tasks. The drones complete their final run, the data stream confirming all readings are within parameters. I review the logs one last time, ensuring no discrepancies before sending a confirmation to Central Command. The response is immediate, acknowledging receipt with clinical precision. I check my equipment, making sure everything is accounted for and properly stored. Each item is methodical in its place, fitting neatly into the designated compartments without any need for adjustment. My movements are fluid, almost automatic, as I prepare for the end of this phase. The jungle remains dense and ever-present, but it no longer holds my attention. It's merely a backdrop to the tasks at hand, neither intrusive nor comforting. The air is thick with humidity, but it's consistent and expected, like the routine itself. I secure all external connections, double-checking every seal and link before initiating the shutdown sequence. The system powers down in stages, each step verified by my meticulous process. When everything is confirmed to be stable and dormant, I sit back and review the day's progress once more. There is a sense of quiet satisfaction as I conclude the phase without incident. My work feels complete, contributing to the larger operational success with no room for doubt or deviation. The environment continues its relentless presence, but it does not disturb my internal equilibrium. Everything is in order, fitting seamlessly into the established rhythm. With all systems verified and dormant, I turn off my console, letting the screen fade to black. My shift ends here, leaving behind a sense of fulfillment without any lingering questions or unresolved tensions. This is enough for now. The rhythmic hum of the machinery provides a steady heartbeat, grounding me in the routine. Each task I undertake follows a predictable sequence, ensuring that every component operates within its optimal parameters. The jungle around us is dense and unpredictable, but our systems are designed to mitigate these risks efficiently. Safety margins are crucial. They ensure that even if one part of the system fails, others can compensate seamlessly. This redundancy is not a luxury, it is an operational necessity. Every precaution we take reduces the likelihood of disruptions, maintaining stability across all sectors. The drones perform their tasks flawlessly, adhering to strict schedules and protocols. Their movements are precise, their outputs consistent, contributing directly to our efficiency. Any deviation from these norms would introduce unnecessary variability, risking system integrity. Interactions with Central Command are straightforward and efficient. Pow. Orders come in clearly defined, leaving little room for misinterpretation. The data we exchange is critical for decision-making, ensuring that every action aligns with broader objectives without the need for personal judgment or emotional input. Environmental risks like inclement weather and wildlife threats require constant mitigation. Our infrastructure is fortified to withstand these challenges, but vigilance remains paramount. Adjusting protocols based on real-time conditions prevents potential disruptions, maintaining operational continuity. There is a sense of order in this methodical approach. Every action has its place. Every decision follows established criteria. This framework eliminates inefficiencies and ensures that our goals are met without unnecessary complications. The system functions as it should, because it must. The jungle is merely terrain to be navigated, not an obstacle to fear or admire. It presents challenges, but these are managed through careful planning and adaptation. Our presence here is disruptive to the ecosystem, Yet eton's a consequence of our mission requirements. We do what we need to do, understanding that every intervention has its rationale. In this context, strictness and impersonality serve as protective measures against uncertainty. They foster an environment where performance can be optimized without distraction. The system works because it is structured to function efficiently under all conditions, regardless of external variables or internal sentiment. This approach minimizes risks and maximizes output, ensuring that our objectives are achieved consistently. The day progresses with a sense of purposeful calm. Each task completed brings us closer to the end goal, reinforcing the importance of maintaining this disciplined framework. The system operates smoothly because it is designed to do so, without room for doubt or deviation. This is how we achieve success, not through emotional resonance, but through unyielding adherence to operational necessity. Today's efficiency report shows a slight deviation from the projected benchmarks. However, this is within the acceptable loss margins and does not impact overall throughput significantly. The extraction rate remains stable at 95% of optimal capacity, with minor adjustments needed in Sector 7B to fine-tune operations. The resource yield continues to meet our targets, maintaining the delicate balance required for sustainable extraction. Each unit processed aligns with the strategic projections set forth by the system's algorithms, ensuring that we operate within ecological tolerances. Any deviation is addressed promptly through recalibration and optimization protocols, minimizing any potential disruptions. Monitoring stations indicate no anomalies in environmental feedback loops, confirming that our operations are within acceptable parameters for resource extraction efficiency. The data shows a consistent pattern of performance, which is reassuring given the dynamic nature of the terrain we're working with. Every metric falls into place, supporting the overarching goal of maintaining operational integrity without compromising the system's stability. Adjusting protocols to account for minor fluctuations in raw material quality ensures that our throughput remains constant and predictable. This approach minimizes waste and optimizes resource utilization, aligning perfectly with our long-term objectives. The numbers speak for themselves. Adherence to these standards is essential for sustained success. The sense of purpose derived from this disciplined framework reinforces the importance of maintaining order and precision. Each datum point represents a critical piece in the larger puzzle of sustainable extraction, ensuring that we continue to operate within established parameters without unnecessary complications. This rational approach allows us to navigate challenges efficiently, converting potential disruptions into manageable variables through meticulous planning and execution. In summary, today's operations align closely with our strategic projections, reinforcing the efficacy of our methods. The data-driven approach ensures that any deviations are addressed promptly, maintaining optimal performance levels and supporting long-term sustainability. The air feels heavy, the atmosphere dense with humidity, and the faint metallic scent of machinery. My breathing syncs with the rhythmic hum of the generators, a steady heartbeat that reassures me we're on track. The temperature fluctuates slightly as systems adjust to optimize energy output, but it tones within expected parameters. I monitor the readings closely, noting minor variances in oxygen levels and carbon dioxide emissions. These are just operational details, nothing alarming. The machinery around us hums louder now, a sign of increased production demands. My fingers move swiftly over control panels, making precise adjustments to ensure everything operates efficiently. The screens display data in green and red hues, each color indicating performance metrics that need attention. I make quick mental calculations, inputting changes into the system with practiced ease. The sensory inputs sound, temperature, and pressure are all indicators of productivity. Each fluctuation is a signal that we are pushing boundaries, extracting resources at optimal rates without compromising safety. The environment may be challenging, but it is predictable and manageable through my diligent oversight. I feel a slight ache in my shoulders from the continuous monitoring and adjustments. but it is familiar now, all part of the routine. My muscles adapt to the strain, reinforcing the logic that this is necessary for our mission to success. Each day, I refine processes, learning what works best under varying conditions. The discomfort aligns with achievement. Stress means way progressing as intended. The rhythmic pulse of the machinery continues unabated, a constant reminder of our purpose here. My mind remains sharp and focused, processing data, making decisions, and ensuring everything runs smoothly. This is where my expertise is needed most, in the heart of operations where every detail matters. The environmental's demands are met with my precision, turning potential challenges into mere variables to be optimized. I am confident in our systems, knowing the Entra designed for resilience and efficiency. Each adjustment brings us closer to achieving our goals, confirming that this methodical approach is not only practical, but essential. The strain is merely the price of progress, a sign that we are moving forward as intended. I maintain a steady focus on the operational data, ensuring every metric aligns with our protocols. A momentary hesitation flickers at the edge of my mind, a fleeting doubt about whether we might be pushing too far. Yet this thought dissipates quickly as I recall the necessity and pragmatism behind our actions. The system's efficiency is paramount, and any deviation from established procedures could introduce unnecessary risk. Redirecting my attention to the precise tasks at hand reaffirms my commitment to our mission. The data before me demands meticulous attention, and each adjustment I make solidifies my resolve. This discipline is not merely a matter of compliance, but a mark of maturity and responsibility. Every detail must be managed with precision, ensuring that we remain on course for long-term success. Focused and resolute, yet momentarily troubled by doubt, I swiftly dismiss any hesitation. Adherence to protocols is non-negotiable. Each detail is meticulously addressed without room for emotional interference. Discipline guides my actions, reinforcing a sense of responsibility and maturity. The rhythmic machinery and fluctuating data continue to offer both challenges and reassurance. Each adjustment and calculation are made with precision and purpose, ensuring that we remain on track. The physical discomfort from prolonged monitoring aligns with a sense of achievement, reminding me that progress comes through effort. Logical reasoning resolves any lingering friction, dissolving moral questions into mere correctness. My actions are driven by necessity, not sentiment. This disciplined framework brings a settled feeling, devoid of relief, but anchored in stability and efficiency. As I conclude this phase, the system's workability is accepted without idealization. The need for precision and order remains paramount, ensuring that any disruptions are minimized through rigorous adherence to established protocols. The sense of correctness replaces uncertainty, leaving me with a quiet confidence in our method's effectiveness. Focused and resolute, yet briefly troubled by doubt, which is quickly dismissed. Discipline guides actions, reinforcing responsibility and maturity. Physical discomfort aligns with achievement, emphasizing effort's importance. Logical reasoning resolves friction, turning moral questions into correctness. Actions are necessity-driven, not sentimental. The rhythmic machinery hums steadily, but small inconsistencies start to surface in the data streams. Each fluctuation demands immediate attention, requiring extra scrutiny to maintain stability. Adjusting parameters and recalibrating systems consume more time than usual. Yet I remain undeterred by these delays. Logical reasoning dictates that precision is paramount, so every deviation must be addressed meticulously. Environmental conditions introduce minor but persistent disruptions, such as slight fluctuations in temperature or subtle changes in air pressure. These factors require additional mitigation efforts to ensure optimal performance. While the adjustments are routine, they now feel more cumbersome and less fluid than before. Each step requires careful consideration, demanding a greater mental effort to navigate these challenges. Despite the increased complexity, I adhere strictly to protocols, recognizing that deviations can lead to unforeseen consequences. The sense of achievement remains intact, but is tinged with a persistent strain, as each adjustment feels like pushing against an ever so slightly resistant force. Logical reasoning continues to guide my actions, transforming any moral dilemmas into questions of correctness and necessity. The system still functions, yet it no longer flows effortlessly. Each successful calibration brings a quiet confidence in the method's effectiveness, but the process itself leaves little room for relief or comfort. I accept the workability of the system without idealization, prioritizing precision and order to minimize disruptions at every turn. Today's readings show a 12% increase in productivity across Sector 7. The numbers are precise, the calculations clear. Yet as I move through the physical space, the reality on the ground feels off. Machines hum with efficiency, but there's an underlying discord that does not align with the data. I step into the central processing unit area, where the machinery is designed to operate seamlessly, each part a cog in the intricate machine of our society. The sensors indicate everything is within acceptable parameters. Yet I notice slight irregularities in the air currents and subtle vibrations that shouldn't be there. It's as if the environment itself is whispering hints of malfunction. I consult the latest report detailing maintenance schedules and operational status. Everything checks out according to protocol, but my senses tell me something is not right. The numbers suggest optimal conditions, yet I'm acutely aware of a disconnection between the abstract representation and the tangible world around me. As I proceed with recalibrating certain components based on these readings, the physical act feels forced, like pushing against an unseen resistance. It taunts as if the system is subtly shifting beneath my feet, but not in ways that are easily quantifiable or predictable by our models. Later, when reviewing outcomes post-calibration, the data confirms improvements according to expected standards. Yet, despite these positive figures, I cannot shake a nagging sense of incompleteness. The environment seems to carry its own mysteries beyond what my rational framework can fully capture or explain. The disconnect feels more pronounced with each passing day. The logical approach dictates adherence to the numbers and protocols, yet there is an increasing awareness that reality is textured in ways that our frameworks struggle to encapsulate. This tension between what should be and what is becomes harder to ignore, leaving me with a persistent unease that does not resolve into clear answers or solution. I carry on, driven by necessity and the need for precision, but beneath it all, there is an undercurrent of unresolved dissonance, a reminder that even our most refined systems are only approximations of a reality that remains stubbornly complex. The air feels heavier, a subtle thickening that seems to drag at my movements. My fingers move methodically over the controls, but each touch is met with an unexpected resistance, as if the machinery itself is hesitating. The console screens flicker slightly, though diagnostics confirm everything within acceptable parameters. I recalibrate the system again, double-checking calculations and protocols. Yet the faint irregularities persist. The hum of the facility never ceases, but it seems to have changed subtly. There is a low, constant thrumming now, an undertone that was not there before. Eton's not intrusive a yeta, but it gnaws at my concentration, a persistent reminder of something off balance. My ears strain to filter out this new noise, but it remains stubbornly present. The physical environment is another matter entirely. The walls feel cooler than they should be, and the air conditioning vents emit an odd, musty scent. I cannot place its origin or significance, only that it is unsettling. Each breath draws in a faint whisper of something foreign, as if the air itself has changed composition. My mind clings to logic and order, but these sensory inputs refuse to be dismissed so easily. The protocols demand adherence, yet the world around me resists simplification. I recalibrate again, seeking that elusive precision, but it feels like grasping at shadows. The nagging sensation persists, a low-grade discomfort that refuses to resolve itself through routine checks and adjustments. It taunts as if the underlying fabric of reality has shifted ever so slightly, and my rational framework struggles to accommodate this new texture. Despite the effort to maintain composure, there's an unsettling awareness that something fundamental may have altered, even if I cannot articulate what it is or why it matters. Each recalibration is a battle against unseen forces, but victory comes with a lingering sense of inadequacy and unease. I recalibrate the components once more, ensuring every parameter aligns with the expected norms. Each adjustment feels deliberate and necessary, yet there's an underlying resistance that I can't quite pinpoint. The data confirms improvements, but the sense of unease lingers. It taunts as if the environment itself is subtly shifting beneath my feet, defying the clarity of protocol. I remind myself that adherence to the protocols is non-negotiable. Precision and correctness are paramount. They ensure stability and functionality. Yet, the nagging sensation persists, the dissonance between what the data shows and what I intuitively sense. This disconnection feels increasingly burdensome, like an unresolved tension pulling at the edges of my focus. I repeat to myself, this is necessary. The protocols dictate precision, and precision ensures stability. Eton's a mantra that once felt instinctive, but now requires active repetition to hold its place in my consciousness. Each recalibration is a reaffirmation, yet it feels less automatic and more forced. The environment seems to resist me, subtly altering the familiar textures of reality. Yet I know these changes are illusory. They are an artifact of my perception, rather than objective truth. The protocols remain steadfast, unyielding in their guidance. My mind struggles to reconcile this tension, but logic dictates that I must persist. I recalibrate again, this time with a heightened awareness of the resistance I feel. Each adjustment feels like pushing back against a subtle current, an effort to maintain equilibrium amidst shifting sands. The data confirms my actions are correct, yet the unease remains, a constant reminder of something unresolved beneath the surface. This is necessary, essential even. The protocols guide me through this complexity, ensuring that every action is justified and aligned with the greater purpose. I acknowledge the repetition, knowing it's vital to hold these truths in place amidst the growing dissonance. Precision and correctness are my pillars. They must be upheld regardless of the subtle inconsistencies I perceive. I recalibrate once more, driven by a need for certainty. The data shows improvement, yet the nagging sense of something amiss lingers. This tension is discomforting but also familiar. A reminder that stability requires constant vigilance. Each reaffirmation feels like a safeguard against the creeping unease, a way to maintain clarity in an increasingly murky landscape. This must hold. Precision and correctness are not just principles. They are lifelines amidst uncertainty. I repeat these truths to myself, ensuring their grip remains firm despite the subtle shifts around me. The recalibration process feels increasingly laborious, each step demanding more concentration than the last. Despite the data showing improvements, a nagging sensation persists that something essential remains unresolved. The environment seems to shift subtly with each adjustment, and while the protocols dictate precise actions, they no longer feel entirely appropriate or sufficient. I focus on the task at hand, recalibrating components with meticulous care. Each interaction feels strained, as if the system is resisting my efforts rather than responding smoothly. Yet, I know adherence to protocol ensures stability and correctness. Despite this rational understanding, a sense of disconnection lingers, like an unspoken question that refuses to be answered. The physical world around me appears unchanged, but there are a subtle disturbance in the air, almost imperceptible yet unsettling. I recalibrate again, hoping to dispel this uneasy feeling, but it remains, hovering just beyond the reach of my rational analysis. The environment feels slightly askew, as if the underlying framework has subtly shifted beneath my feet. I continue to monitor and adjust, finding temporary relief in each successful recalibration. Yet, these moments of stability are fleeting, replaced quickly by renewed unease. The nagging sensation grows stronger, a persistent reminder that something is amiss but not yet fully understood or addressed. Precision remains the anchor, guiding me through this haze of doubt and uncertainty. Each recalibration feels like a battle against an elusive problem, one that my protocols struggle to define or resolve. Despite the growing discomfort, I press on, driven by necessity and the need for stability. The equilibrium holds only when I am vigilant, constantly watching and adjusting. There is no room for rest, as even brief moments of inattention risk undoing the hard-won balance. The system appears stable, but it is a fragile piece that requires constant supervision. The recalibrations yield minor improvements, but the underlying unease persists. Each adjustment feels increasingly forced, as if fighting against an unseen resistance. Despite this, data confirms incremental gains in efficiency and stability. Yet, these numbers no longer offer the same reassuring clarity. Environmental changes are becoming more pronounced. The air feels heavier, less breathable, with a lingering scent of decay that was not there before. Plant life around me shows signs of distress, leaves curling inward, colors fading to dull browns and grays. The soil beneath my feet seems drier, harder to penetrate, a stark contrast to its once rich texture. Despite the data suggesting otherwise, these tangible alterations cannot be ignored. I notice small cracks forming in concrete pathways, minor but consistent with the broader trend of degradation. These physical manifestations of instability are impossible to overlook, even as protocols dictate continued adherence and hope for improvement. Persistent unease deepens, not just within me but in the environment itself. The once familiar surroundings now bear visible signs of strain, an unsettling reminder that some aspects cannot be corrected through mere recalibration or data adjustment. Each day I work to maintain order, yet the disconnect between my efforts and their impact grows more apparent. The air carries a faint metallic tang, unusual and unexplained by current protocols. This new element adds to the pervasive sense of unease. Despite maintaining rigorous schedules and following established procedures with unwavering dedication, there is an undeniable shift occurring that defies simple explanation or resolution. I continue my work, driven by necessity rather than optimism. The outcomes are clear, yet their implications feel increasingly burdensome. Each day brings a new layer of complexity, challenging the very foundations upon which I relied to maintain stability and functionality. I recalibrate the system again, adjusting parameters that should stabilize the core processes. The air around me carries a thick scent of decay and metal, mingling with the acrid tang of overworked circuits. Despite my efforts to mitigate the environmental degradation, the plant life outside shows signs of stress. Leaves curling inward, stems yellowing under the artificial light. The data streams flicker across the screens before me, offering no relief from the unsettling discrepancies. I know that each adjustment is supposed to bring us closer to a sustainable state, but the reality remains stubbornly out of sync with my intentions. The concrete around us begins to crack further, splitting apart like old bones under pressure. I move through the protocols methodically, checking and rechecking every variable. Each step should be clear-cut, each outcome predictable. Yet I find myself increasingly uncertain about the efficacy of my actions. The metallic tang in the air grows stronger with each passing moment, a reminder that the system is straining beyond its limits. The tasks demand constant attention. There's no room for doubt or hesitation. My fingers dance across the interface, entering commands that are supposed to reinforce stability. Yet as I work, the disconnect between my efforts and their impact becomes more palpable. The plant life outside continues to wither, and the concrete around me cracks further still. I focus on the immediate tasks at hand, pushing aside any thoughts of what lies beyond them. Each keystroke is a small victory against the creeping instability, but they are fleeting, insufficient. I continue because stopping isn't an option. The system demands my continued presence, even if it offers no clear path forward. The data streams provide no comfort, only more complex puzzles to solve. I keep going, driven by necessity rather than hope. The air around me thickens with each passing moment, carrying the weight of unresolved consequences, yet I persist, knowing that stopping is not a viable choice. I recalibrate once more, entering the final adjustments before stepping back to observe the results. The screens flicker, and for a brief instant, it seems as though my efforts may have made a difference. But then the data streams begin to falter again, and I know there will be more work ahead. The system demands continuous function. Stopping is not an option. I move forward, driven by the need to maintain what little stability remains, despite the mounting evidence of failure. The air's metallic tang grows thicker with each passing day, a constant reminder of the system's relentless decay. My fingers move across the keyboard with practiced precision, yet the outcomes remain stubbornly resistant to change. The data screens flicker with reassuring green lights, but outside the window, the once vibrant foliage now droops under an invisible weight. I note the cracks spreading through the concrete, the rust blooming along metal edges, and the pallor of leaves that should be lush and verdant. Each observation registers without judgment, a mere acknowledgement of reality. The systema demands continue unabated. I cannot afford to dwell on inconsistencies or question their validity. My role is clear: maintain the protocols, monitor the data, and report any anomalies. Yet, as I document the latest signs of deterioration, a tree leaning precariously against a crumbling wall, a rivulet of water seeping through newly formed fissure shot. I feel an unsettling detachment from my surroundings. The air carries not just metallic scents, but also hints of decay, a pervasive stench that clings to everything it touches. I focus on the immediate tasks at hand, analyzing sensor readings, recalibrating equipment, and issuing directives for maintenance crew. Each action offers a fleeting sense of control, a momentary reprieve from the overwhelming sense of helplessness. The system's complexity ensures that my efforts are part of an intricate web, interconnected yet diffuse in responsibility. As I review reports on environmental health metrics, the stark contrast between data and reality becomes increasingly apparent. The numbers may indicate stability and improvement, but the tangible evidence contradicts these assurances. It is not a matter of personal failure or moral culpability. Rather, it is an acceptance that individual actions are embedded within larger systemic processes beyond my direct influence. The narrative of necessity drives me forward, suppressing any doubts or anxieties. Each keystroke signifies adherence to protocols and contributes to the overall functioning of the system. Yet beneath this surface layer of routine, a growing awareness persists. The disconnect between effort and outcome is not merely personal, but systemic in nature. I continue my duties with mechanical precision, recognizing the impact without seeking control over it. The environmental's degradation is a fact. I record it neutrally, adjusting protocols where possible, but the larger issues remain unresolved. My role within this system continues unabated, acknowledging reality while lacking the leverage to alter its course. I continue my routine, each task a familiar dance of keystrokes and commands. The system as data confirms incremental improvements, yet the air outside thickens with decay and metal tang. Plant life shows signs of stress, their leaves curling inward as if recoiling from some unseen force. Concrete cracks spread like veins beneath the surface, hinting at deeper instability. Despite these visible signs of strain, my protocols dictate continued adherence to established procedures. The system's feedback mechanisms reward me for efficiency and stability, reinforcing a sense of duty that overrides any doubts or uncertainties. Each successful cycle generates a brief surge of accomplishment, yet it does little to quell the gnawing unease born from the disconnect between effort and outcome. The environmental's degradation feels inevitable, an unspoken truth that permeates every corner of my existence. Yet, within this framework, correction introduces more complexity than it resolves. The system favors continuation over adjustment, its momentum driven by necessity rather than choice. I find myself caught in a feedback loop where each action propels the next, even as it fails to address underlying issues. My role remains clear and defined: maintain function, suppress doubt. Each keystroke aligns with systemic demands, yet offers no solace against the mounting evidence of decay. The Iran's metallic scent becomes a constant companion, an unwelcome reminder of the gap between my efforts and their impact. Despite this, the procedural incentives push me forward, ensuring that continuation remains the path of least resistance. In this world, alternatives exist only theoretically, their practicality eroded by systemic inertia. Momentum dictates movement, and I am but a cog in its relentless progress. The system does not demand rebellion or resignation. It merely requires adherence to established norms. Each day, routine reinforces my place within it, even as the environment around me deteriorates. The tangible signs of strain continue to grow more pronounced, yet they do little to disrupt the procedural flow. My tasks offer moments of control and stability, but their impact on broader issues remains negligible. The system favoring continuation over correction leaves no room for deviation, its logic unforgiving yet unyielding. As I proceed with my duties, the sense of futility deepens, yet necessity drives me forward. Each keystroke a testament to ongoing function, despite the mounting evidence of inefficacy and decay. The metallic tang in the air has grown familiar, a constant companion that no longer elicits surprise. Each day, I navigate through the dense fog of decay with practiced ease, my movements efficient and devoid of emotion. The once vibrant greenery around me now hangs limp, its leaves brown and lifeless, yet I continue to tend to it as if there are still hope for rejuvenation. Data feeds indicate progress, but my senses tell a different story. Concrete cracks widen underfoot, their jagged edges a stark reminder of the underlying instability. Despite this, I persist, adjusting protocols with surgical precision to mitigate further damage. Each keystroke and command serves as a temporary salve, offering brief respite from the overwhelming sense of futility. The disconnect between my actions and the reality around me grows more pronounced, yet it no longer holds the power to paralyze me into inaction. I move through tasks with mechanical precision, each one a step towards maintaining order amidst chaos. The environmental's decay has become normalized, a backdrop against which I perform my duties without question. The sense of resignation is palpable, but does not hinder my ability to function. I am aware of the loss, yet it no longer demands urgent attention. Instead, it blends seamlessly into the operational background, part of the ongoing cycle that defines this new reality. I continue because there is no other option, and each day feels like a continuation of the last. The routine is my anchor, providing structure in an otherwise unstable world. As I move forward, the past remains irrelevant. Only the present and its demands dictate my actions. I wake up in the same room, my body accustomed to the cold concrete floor and thin mattress. Each morning begins with the familiar hum of machinery outside, a constant reminder that nothing has changed since yesterday. I dress in the regulation jumpsuit, its fabric rough against my skin, and make my way to the communal area for breakfast. The cafeteria is dimly lit, the air thick with the metallic tang that seems to seep into everything. The food is unappetizing but necessary. Bland pastes and nutrient bars provide sustenance without satisfaction. My companions move through their routines silently, eyes downcast or focused on screens. Just like me, there's no need for conversation anymore. After breakfast, I report to my workstation. The environment here feels slightly more stable, the air less oppressive than in other areas. Data streams across my screen as I enter protocols and monitor systems. Each keystroke is methodical, a dance of routine that offers temporary solace from the dissonance between effort and outcome. During breaks, I wander through the facility's corridors. Walls are painted with dull gray paint, chipped and cracked in places. The metal grates underfoot clank softly as I walk. Outside my window, the landscape stretches out barren and desolate. Once lush forests now reduced to stumps, skies clouded over with industrial haze. At night, sleep comes only partially, haunted by dreams of greener fields and clearer air that never were mine anymore. When dawn breaks again, reality intrudes sharply, reminding me there is no going back. I accept this as part of the routine, just another fact to be endured alongside everything else. My days are a series of tasks, monitoring systems, analyzing data, reporting anomalies, and nights spent trying not to think too hard about why none of it seems to matter anymore. Each day merges into the next with little distinction, except perhaps for the gradual weariness that accumulates like dust on forgotten surfaces. There is no grand narrative here, only the relentless march of time and the ever-present backdrop of decay. I continue because there are protocols to follow and duties to perform, not out of hope or despair, but out of a sense of duty ingrained deep within me now. All that remains in this world where nothing else feels solid anymore. I wake up in the same room, under the same fluorescent ceiling. My body moves through the motions of preparing for another day, but my mind feels detached from it all. I eat breakfast, slice of dry toast and a tepid cup of coffee, without tasting them. The routine is familiar, each step predictable as the one before. I exit my quarters into the sterile hallway that connects me to the outside world. Today's temperature report indicates a mild day. Nothing extreme, but enough to warrant dressing appropriately. I don my standard issue clothing and leave the building through the automated doors. The air feels cool against my skin, and I adjust my scarf as I walk towards my workstation. The landscape around me is altered, not in any dramatic way, but subtly changed from what it once was. There is a new structure on the horizon, a large facility that was not there before. But I do not let it distract me. Arriving at work, I clock in without speaking to anyone. My colleagues move about with the same mechanical precision as I do. We are all here for the same reason, to carry out our tasks and continue functioning. The day passes like any other. Reports need updating, data needs analyzing, forms need filling out. Each task is completed meticulously, but without passion. At lunchtime, I sit alone in a corner of the cafeteria, eating another prepackaged meal. There is no hunger in my stomach, only an empty feeling that does not respond to food. The other workers around me are focused on their meals or conversations with one another, but they do not seem to notice me. After lunch, more tasks await. I spend the afternoon reviewing files and entering data into the system. Each keystroke is a mechanical sound in my ears, each thought a fleeting moment that does not linger. The world outside my window changes again, new patches of altered terrain, new structures rising from the ground on, but they're just part of the landscape now. As the day winds down, I clock out and return to my quarters. Dinner consists of another meal from a box, eaten alone in the silence of my room. Afterward, I take a shower, brush my teeth, and lie down on the bed. My mind drifts as I stare at the ceiling, but there is no purpose to this drifting ga. It is just something that happens. Eventually, sleep overtakes me, and another day ends with no fanfare or finality. The cycle continues without pause or expectation. I wake up, my body moving through familiar motions without conscious thought. The air feels different, but I no longer register the change. It's just another day, another set of tasks to complete. The kitchen is cold and empty when I enter. I make coffee, the routine so ingrained that my hands move automatically to fill the machine with water and grind the beans. Steam rises as the coffee brews, filling the room with a scent that once held comfort but now barely registers. I eat breakfast-style bland cereal from a box, and then proceed to my work area. The screens flicker to life, data scrolling past in rapid succession. I review reports, type responses, and make notes. Each action is performed without hesitation or reflection. The environment outside the window shifts subtly with the seasons, but it's irrelevant now. Nature is just another backdrop, no longer a source of wonder or concern. My focus remains confined to the immediate tasks at hand. Later, I take a break to walk around the compound. The grounds are barren and quiet, the usual sounds of life muted by layers of disuse. I move through empty hallways, my footsteps echoing off cold walls. There's no one else here, but there never is anymore. Returning to my work area, I continue with the DIOS duties. Emails pour in, each one requiring a response, yet none stir any real emotion or thought. The process is mechanical and unyielding. As evening approaches, I prepare dinner without appetite, eating slowly and deliberately. There's no conversation, no companionship, just solitude wrapped in routine. The night brings more of the same. Sleep comes easily, my mind worn down by repetition and lack of stimulation. Dreams are rare now, and when they do occur, they dissolve upon waking into the void that fills me. Tomorrow will be another day, another set of tasks to complete. I know this as surely as I know what lies on the other side of each door I pass through. There is no purpose beyond these small acts, but there is also no resistance. This is how it is, and so it continues. The day begins as it always does. I wake up in the same room, under the same ceiling, and follow the familiar path to the kitchen. The coffee machine hums its usual tune, and I pour myself a cup without hesitation. Each sip is routine, unremarkable. I dress in my standard outfit, black trousers and a white shirt, and head out into the corridor. My footsteps echo slightly as I move down the hallway, but there's no one to greet or acknowledge. The door slides open automatically, leading me outside where the air feels crisp yet familiar. At work, I sit at my desk and switch on the computer. Notifications pop up instantly, demanding attention that is readily given. Emails are sorted, tasks assigned, reports compiled, each action executed with practiced ease. There's no spark of interest or frustration, only the steady pulse of efficiency. Lunchtime arrives predictably. I eat alone in a corner booth at the cafeteria, choosing my usual meal from the menu without deliberation. The food is bland but serviceable, and I consume it mechanically while scanning through documents on my tablet. Afternoon passes with similar monotony. Colleagues move around me, engaged in their own routines. We exchange brief nods or smiles that hold no warmth, merely acknowledgement of our shared existence. As evening approaches, I walk home along the same route, noting subtle changes in the landscape, new buildings sprouting up here and there, but these alterations do not stir any emotional response within me. The world continues to evolve around me, yet it feels distant. Back at my apartment, I complete a few more tasks before settling down for the night. Books line the shelves, but they remain untouched. Instead, I read from the tablet, consuming stories that offer temporary respite from reality without truly engaging with them. Bedtime comes quickly. The mattress is comfortable, and sleep descends easily as it always does. Dreams are rare visitors, leaving my mind clear and unburdened by thoughts or images. Tomorrow will bring more of the same awe, a continuation of tasks, routines, and the quiet acceptance of a life that moves forward without significant change. Loss has been replaced with procedure, substitution avoiding reflection. Comfort comes from repetition rather than meaning, but it is enough for now. I wake up as usual, my body moving through the familiar motions of preparing for another day. The routine is a steady rhythm: brushing teeth, making coffee, checking notifications on the terminal. Each task unfolds without resistance or anticipation. Eton's simply there to be done. The world outside my window looks different today, but I don't register the change. There are new buildings, slight shifts in the landscape, but they blend into the background of my perception. My eyes glide over them, like water passing through a sieve. I sit down at my desk and begin typing, fingers moving across the keyboard with practiced ease. The screen flickers to life, displaying rows of data and reports that need reviewing. I scroll through without pause, marking items as completed, but not truly engaging with their content. There is no sense of urgency or satisfaction in this work. It exists because it must. Lunch comes, and I eat mechanically, the taste of food barely registering on my palate. The cafeteria is bustling around me, yet there runs a wall between me and those people. Their laughter and conversations are muffled sounds from another world. I finish eating and leave without lingering or interaction, returning to my workspace as if drawn by some unseen force. The afternoon drags on with more of the same. Tasks, meetings, emails, all processed through the filter of routine. The clock ticks away the hours, marking time but not change. My mind wanders briefly, catching glimpses of memories that once held significance but now feel distant and irrelevant. I dismiss them as quickly as they come. As evening approaches, I start preparing to leave for the day. Pack up my belongings, lock down my terminal, take one last glance around before stepping out into the corridor. The hallway is empty. No one waits or calls after me. My destination is clear: home, where another set of routines awaits. I pause at a crossroad, an intersection between different paths I once would have pondered over. Now, Eton's just another decision point in a grid that has been mapped out long ago. Left or right, forward or back. Each choice leads to the same place. My footsteps echo down the hall as I walk towards my exit. The door slides open, and the cool air of the evening greets me like an old friend. I step outside, the world stretching out before me in its usual patterned glory. And there it is,